Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here today for another edition of the NASCAR Fantasy Podcast as we are going to go through everything Sonoma, talk everything Sonoma, getting you ready for today and your fantasy lineups to look at least halfway decent. Got all the facts, information for drivers you should stay away from, sleeper picks possibly for maybe the back half of your lineup like a garage pick and so on, and then your must starts coming into today's race as well. We'll take a look at the overall fantasy league going on right now, our personal league. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Road course racing for the second time in 3 weeks. Preview coming into this week. Martin Truex Jr. has won the last 2 races at Sonoma. He's a 3-time winner there. He is tied for the most wins all time at Sonoma. He could take the lead for himself here today. And then also, he obviously would have the most wins of anybody in the field. Next closest is Kyle Busch with 2. Kyle Busch has had some great runs here in recent years, so we'll have to see how this is going to come to full circle. And Chase Elliott, this is the only road course he has not been able to win at in his Cup Series career to this point, that at least he has had a chance to race at, so we'll see if he can get it done here today as well. So again, we'll go through everything fantasy analysis coming into today's race. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content first and foremost. We do these previews for a race every single weekend, for the Cup Series at least, and then the post-race analysis we usually do the day after the race at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that will be the start of the live stream tomorrow. Thanks for everybody tuning in here this morning. Hopefully you're waking up and getting ready for today's race day. The race will start at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox Sports 1. We are not doing live commentary of the race today. I'll have too many things to do before the race, leading up to the race, so I'm just going to watch the race on my own here today, but we will be back with that next weekend for the All-Star race. This is the last points-paying race that will be on the Fox portion of the channel as well. So there's another note going into today's race. The weather looks pretty good. It's going to be mid to upper 80s. Sunshiny day there in California. No % chance of rain, so we get to see a dry road course race from start to finish, it looks like, for the first time this year, so I'm excited for that also. Carson Boy, welcome into the stream. Still in my PJs. Well, hey, there you go. It is still late morning hours. Started this just after 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, so we'll see what we can do here today fantasy-wise. First and foremost, before we get into the picks, as usual, you can join our league, the KRC League, on the NASCAR mobile app or website. Sign up with your email if you're not signed up already. It is free to join. Search for KRC in all caps League. That stands for Keegan's Racing Channel League. And you have a chance to win 2 tickets to any race of your NASCAR choosing for next season if you win the season championship or the playoff championship at the end of the year. And you automatically qualify for the playoffs. So even if you can't win the regular season championship because it's too late this year, you get some practice in before the playoffs end up starting here in about 10 or so weeks. Okay, my allergies are kind of kicking me here today, for those of you wondering. And also for those of you wondering why I'm not wearing much Ryan Blaney gear right now, just the hat for the podcast and for the stream, is because my sister's graduation is today, so I have to dress up formal. But as soon as that graduation's over and I head home, I'll be putting the Ryan Blaney shirt on. So I will get home before the start of the race too, but that is why, another reason why we're doing it much earlier than what we usually would up to the start of the race. All right, so as usual, if you guys have any questions in the chat as we go, please ask. We always start off with the drivers you should stay away from, then we head to the sleepers, and then the must-haves, and then eventually my race win pick for today at Sonoma. So first and foremost, we're going to start off again with the don't-haves. The obvious one, Austin Dillon, 0 career top 10s on road courses in his NASCAR Cup Series career. He has not finished better than 16th in 6 career starts at Sonoma, so that's another note there as well. Last time we were here with this current configuration with the new carousel added, he finished 24th. So Austin Dillon is a no-go in my lineup. Obviously, stay away from Austin Dillon anytime you can on road courses. It is not a safe pick by any means. I don't expect him to get a top 10 today. I expect that career streak to stay alive. He looked a little bit promising last week in COTA, but granted that was in the rain, and the rain threw a different oddball there, and he still ended up finishing, I believe, 13th, if I remember correctly. So at the end of the day, he still did not get the top 10. And another driver on the don't have list is going to be Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski is known for being pretty good at Watkins Glen. That is literally the only road course he has ran consistently well in his NASCAR career. He does not get the good finishes at the Charlotte Roval. Sonoma, he is really, really bad. He's got 10 career starts at Sonoma, and he's only got 2 top 10s to show for, and he's only got 1 top 10 in the last 6 races at Sonoma. That was a 4 years ago because they didn't race there last year. And only 5 top 5s for Brad Keselowski so far this season. We look at Brad Keselowski's season stats coming in. He's not even in the top 10 of my power rankings. He's still 10th in the point standings, but he has been on a downhill slide. Again, only 5 top 10s all season long. He's only got 2 top 10 finishes in the last 11 races. So Brad Keselowski has been mightily struggling this year. Penske's on the slow downfall. Stay away from Brad Keselowski today. I don't want to see him in any of your guys' lineups. I think that was a real obvious pick for me coming into this day. Patrick Shadley, Trevor Grimes, Carney Boy, welcome on into the stream as well. Sleeper pick, Chris Buescher in the 17. So, yeah, Chris Buescher is one of my sleeper picks, in fact, for today. He's had speed a lot this year. Roush Fenway as a whole, Newman hasn't been able to keep up with him as well, but Chris Buescher's had speed. He's 14th in the overall standing, 14th. No, hang on, let me pull that up real quick again. I had that right. He's 14th in the overall standings. He's the last driver above the cutoff line. 55 points above, though. Pretty comfortable as long as nobody below the cutoff line wins a race for right now, at least. He's got to keep that momentum going for him because we still have 11 races before the playoffs. So that team is clicking on all cylinders. And so far this season on the road courses for Chris Buescher, he finished 11th back at the Daytona road course earlier this season, and then he also finished 13th at COTA last week and ran in the top 10 for most of the day, kind of slid back late in the race before they ended up calling it for rain, heavy downpouring rain at that point. Chris Buescher is a sleeper pick for me. I think he's a good start for a garage driver, especially if you haven't played him much this season. He's had consistent speed. He also finished 12th at Sonoma in 2018 with JTG Doherty racing in the 37 car as well. So he's had good runs at Sonoma in the past. 16th the last time we were here, also with JTG Doherty Racing equipment back in 2019. That was with a different package, though, so I'm not going to put that in perspective. That was when they had the high downforce, tall spoilers with the 750 horsepower for the road courses that year, and that package didn't suit him well. But before that, with the same package we're going to have today, he ran well with the Gen 6 cars with JTG Doherty, especially at Sonoma. And again, he's ran consistent. My predictions for Chris Buescher today is I say he gets a top 10. As far as his season stats go, and I just closed out the window for the NASCAR stats this season, so give me a quick second here to pull that back up. I was looking at his stats. I just closed the screen when I flipped back to the chat. My bad on that one. Right, let's see here. Season stats for Chris Buescher. He's got 4 top 10 so far this year, 1 stage win as well. But again, 11th, 13th on the road courses this season. That's consistent, at least in the top 15. I expect him to get a top 10 today. That's my predictions for Chris Buescher. So far, predictions, I don't think Brad Keselowski's going to get a top 10. I don't think Austin Dillon's going to get a top 10 for the first time in his career on a road course. And I do think Chris Buescher is a great sleeper pick that you can definitely have in your lineup today. I expect him to run. I don't expect him to contend for a win by any means. I expect him to run probably 8th to 12th the whole race, but he might get some stage points in there, and he can definitely get a top 10. Again, my predictions are for him to get that 5th top 10 of the season. So I'm very high on Chris Buescher's radar for today's race, I do have to say. There we go. Now I got the chat back up without closing out the other page. So thank you for waiting there for a moment. I got to get the chat back up again. There we go. Cap24, welcome to the stream. Sergio Perez is a winner in 20. Yeah, I didn't watch the Formula 1 race this year. I still only watched the first race of the year. I meant to watch a couple weeks ago at Monaco, but I forgot they moved it up a week, and it wasn't the same day as the Indy 500, the Coke 600, and that's why I missed it. I completely forgot that they moved it up. All right. This race is starting at 4. That's late. Well, that's only because it's out on the West Coast. That's explainable. I'm not one for the late starts in NASCAR, don't get me wrong, but when you're on the West Coast, you can't start it at 1, 2 o'clock because it's going to be 10, 11 o'clock in the morning over there. nobody's gonna want to watch that on the West Coast live in person at least. So that is why. So it would only be 1 o'clock start time at Sonoma. So it makes sense why it's a 4 o'clock start. But yeah, all right. That was great, by the way, Patrick. Way to mention Chris Buescher in the chat, and again, he was one of my sleeper picks coming into today. Another one of the sleeper picks coming into today is a guy that has had inconsistent performances, to say the least, this season, but he's performed very well in the road courses and has great statistical success. According to J-Ski's power rankings, they actually have him number 1 coming into today as far as like power rankings at Sonoma all time. That driver is Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch has finished no worse than 13th in his last 9 races at Sonoma. That varies with Chip Ganassi Racing, Stuart Haas Racing, Furniture Row Racing, and even remember that 51 car when he got a top 10 back there for, oh man, who was that? That wasn't Tommy Baldwin racing, was it? No, it wasn't Tommy Baldwin. It might have been. James Finch. It was James Finch Racing. But he had a top 10 there in that 51 car as well. So he knows how to get it done at Sonoma. He's a very good road course racer. He's not one that's going to contend for a win a whole lot. But he does have 1 win in that stretch of 9 races here. That came with Furniture Row Racing in the 78 car, in fact. So Kurt Busch, he knows how to get it done at Sonoma. He's got 7 top 10s in that 9-race stretch and 4 top 5s as well. Again, mentioned that win. He's got 2 runner-ups in that stretch. Also, he finished runner-up back here in 2016 as well. So, Kurt Busch, high on his radar today. I think he's going to get a top 10 run, just as much as Chris Buescher. Also, this season, for Kurt Busch on the road courses, he finished in the top 5 at the Daytona Road Course earlier this season and was running 4th late at COTA before he hydroplaned down that long straightaway and almost piled into the back of Kyle Busch, and he ended up in the gravel out there, the sand/gravel. I don't know what it was exactly, but I think it was like a gravel. But anyway, and then he kind of got stuck and weaseled his way out of it. And by the time that happened, he fell outside the top 20. And then they called the race literally like 2 or 3 laps later. So tough break for Kurt Busch there. He had a top 5 nearly in the bag. That would have helped him in points because he's 83 points below the cutoff line, 19th in the standings right now. He is in need of some great consistent runs, if not a win here late in the season, if he's going to want to make it to the playoffs. That hurt him badly a couple weeks ago. I mean, that costed him at least 20-plus points there late in the race. But he ran top 10 all day. So he's ran good on the road courses this year. I know he hasn't shown consistent speed, but he has on the road courses. We have a lot more road courses to come to, so that's a bright side for Kurt Busch. And today is a track that he's had great success. As far as his Cup Series career goes, this is his best road course, so we'll see how he can get it done here today. He got 4th at the Daytona. Yeah, exactly. Top 5 run at the Daytona Road Course this season. So I'm high on Kurt Busch's radar as well as Chris Buescher's radar for today. I think they both get top 10s. Another sleeper pick that I think will get a top 10 here today, and a guy who has surprised a lot of people this season, opened up a lot of eyes. That would be Daytona 500 winner Michael McDowell. McDowell's finished in the top 10 in both road course races this season. He had an 8th at the Daytona Road Course and 7th in the rain last week at COTA. Ran top 5 to top 10 most of the day. Remember, he finished 2nd at the end of stage 2. It looked like he was going to contend for a win there for a little bit. Also, Chris Buescher, he's known to run well in road courses in the past. I know he hasn't gotten the top 10 in Sonoma in his career, but again, considering the equipment he's been in, Front Row Racing, Levine Family Racing before they merged with Toyota and with the Joe Gibbs Racing affiliation they had there for the last couple of years of their tenure. His best finish is 16th here, but the fact that he is a good road course racer, again, he has had consistent speed, much like Kurt Busch, on the road courses this season. Plus, this is a breakout year. Obviously, we mentioned he won the Daytona 500 this season, 2 top 10s on road courses. He's got 5 top 10s total. That's just as much as Brad Keselowski, and so he could move up ahead of Brad Keselowski this week in top 10s on the list. That goes to show how bad that 2 team is struggling, and just how good of a season the 34 team has had. Not only a breakout year for McDowell, but for Front Row Racing, Front Row Motorsports, as a whole. So I expect Michael McDowell to get another top 10 in the first 3 road course races this season. These Sonoma races, especially in years past, since they've had stages, have been a lot more calm. So I think that's going to help McDowell, maybe help him stay out of trouble. He does start a little bit further back in the pack today because he did not have a good run last week on an oval, at least at Charlotte. So that's going to hurt him as far as probably getting stage points because the first two stages on road courses are always typically pretty short. I think it's only like 20 to 25 laps today, so 20 laps today for stage one. So yeah. If he doesn't make the playoffs, I'll be speechless. Talk about Kurt Busch. And he also got a top 5 at the Roval. Also yeah, you're talking about Kurt Busch, I believe. Yeah, Kurt Busch, very good road course racer. He's done a great job here in recent years on road courses, and especially this year. As well as McDowell and Buescher. He's been holding his own too. Don't like Truex. Yeah, so that's something I'm going to talk about. We've flown through the don't haves and the sleeper picks. So I'll talk about Martin Truex Jr. a little bit. He's one of the heavy favorites coming into today's race. The reason why I'm not going to have, two reasons why I'm not going to have Martin Truex Jr. on my fantasy team specifically today. One reason, and I don't want to put him as a don't have because he has ran well here before, but I don't want to put him as a must-have either because it's a little scary and I want to give the best information for you guys possible to help you guys out. Even though I'm competing against you guys, that's what I try to do. That's the point of the NASCAR Fantasy Podcast. Two reasons I'm not going to start Martin Truex Jr. One, the easy one. I only have one start with him left this year. I've used him a lot. So I don't want to use him today. I'll save him for a track that I feel like he can run consistent at. Now, you would think Sonoma can be that track. He's got 3 career wins here. He's won the last 2 races at Sonoma in 2018, 2019. Again, they didn't race here last season. And he's typically pretty good on road courses in general in his NASCAR career. Another reason why I'm not going to start him today, outside of the fact I can only start him one more time this season, is because he hasn't really shown speed on road courses this season. He did in the Clash earlier this year because he had the track position at the start of the race and then he dominated. But remember, he ended up actually spinning out in the backstretch chicane there late in the race and ended up DNFing. So he ended up finishing last in the Busch Clash this season. At the Daytona Road Course. The Daytona Road Course earlier this season, he finished 12th, so he ran pretty much outside the top 10 most of the day from what I remember, which was surprising because of how fast of a car he had at the Daytona Road Course, and you almost kind of wonder if they were going to have the same, the race car, and then when he wrecked that car, it was going to cost him there, so that could have been it. And he didn't run well at COTA 2 weeks ago, That 19 team unloaded slow, and it wasn't just because of the rain. It rained in practice, and he was outside the top 10 in practice, but he qualified 12th, and it was dry conditions in qualifying. That really surprised me. I thought he'd be up towards the top of the leaderboard in qualifying, and then he would be able to keep that track position throughout the race. And then in the rain, in the race, he just never ran well. He was outside the top 10 pretty much all day, and then he ended up getting into that accident midway through the race in Stage 2 as well. So he ended up with a 35th place finish, his worst finish of the season. So Truex has not ran well or has not really looked fast on the road courses this season. Has not gotten the finishes on the road courses this year, and I know Sonoma is his best road course, and he is a good road course racer. It's just a risky start, especially if you're somebody that has used Truex a lot this season. I think this is a week you could stay away from him. There are more safer options that you can depend on running well, without a doubt, that I'm about to get in here in a quick second, and I just wanted to throw that out there with Truex because he's not on my must-have, but he's also not on my don't-haves either. I'm not going to play him for that reason specifically. So you can play him. He can definitely break through, and heck, he can win today because that is him at Sonoma. But as far as like my predictions for him, I really don't know. I don't have predictions for him. He could definitely win the race, or he could finish outside the top 10 easily and run there for most of the day like he has. He does have track position at the start of the race, which is going to help him score stage points, at least in Stage 1. But then again, he could try that strategy because he does have 3 wins this season to pit before the end of the stages and not score any stage points today and get a good finish too. So that could cost you if you have him on the fantasy team. We see a lot of those guys try to do that. We saw it at COTA a couple weeks ago with the drivers that have wins or don't think they really need points. So yeah, we'll see. And I think guys like Austin Dillon will try to score stage points that way. So just because Austin Dillon might score a lot of stage points because of that strategy today, that doesn't mean anything. That just means he's trying to get as many points as he can because he doesn't have a win this season. That's not because he's running in the top 10 all day. So if he does do that and still finishes like 15th, don't say like, oh, he ran really well today. It's like, no, he ran 15th the whole race, but he lucked out with the guys pitting before him. Because I could see that coming already. So I just want to put that out there too. Same for Keselowski. Well, Keselowski might try that strategy of pitting anyway because he's got to win at Talladega. So, and Coda had to DNF due to a crash with Custer. Yeah, but even before that, he wasn't running well at all. The whole week, again, they had practice and qualifying. He was slow all week. Yeah, stage breaks were the only cautions, 2019 Sonoma. Yeah, and that seems to be the case, with road courses in general in the Cup Series. Not many cautions except for Coda last week. And then Daytona road course because of rain, essentially both times. So, one way or another, it was rain. Obviously, Daytona road course was a different circumstance with rain, but nevertheless, rain ended up playing the factor. And NASCAR throwing the caution because of a sprinkle with the factor. But anyway, that kind of threw everything out. But before that, there wasn't really a lot of cautions in that race either. So I expect it to be a pretty calm race today. I'm going to predict that there's not going to be any more than 2 cautions for incident today. If we do have more than 2 cautions for incident, then all right. But I don't expect that. I expect a lot of long green flag runs in this race today, so get to see some strategy in that final stage, so that'll be a lot of fun. All right, so that's enough talk about Truex. Now it's time to get to the must-have picks for today's race. These are 3 drivers that I think are absolute starts in your fantasy team. If you've got them, play them. First and foremost, we're going to start off with the most obvious pick, and that would be Chase Elliott. And I literally wrote for my notes for Chase Elliott. I didn't have any statistical facts because I have the last 2 races at road courses for statistical success in his career at road courses, and they literally haven't changed because he won at Coda last time we were on a road course, and then he ended up at Daytona road course leading the most laps. He won a stage. The only stage he still won this season up to this point, and he was going to win, likely, if they didn't end up having that caution late for the sprinkles on the racetrack that put him back in traffic, and eventually he ended up crashing there late. So outside of that, though, he's really good. But anyway, the notes I have is literally in all caps with explanation points at the end of the sentence is, it is a road course. That is all I have for notes on Chase Elliott. So Chase Elliott, he's a start. I didn't want to search through the same notes I had. I didn't keep them either, which is my fault. But definitely gonna have to start Chase Elliott if you have him today. I specifically saved him just for the road courses this season because I knew we were gonna have 7 of them in the regular season. I've barely been starting him outside of road courses this year, and he won at Coda, so it definitely worked out for me then. And he did score a lot of stage points at the Daytona road course, even though he didn't get the finish because he ended up getting crashed there late. But expect Chase Elliott to easily get a top 10 today and contend for the win. Another guy on the must-have who has great statistical success in his career at Sonoma, especially recently, is Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is another must-have. I think Kyle Busch is back. He has ran very well on the road courses this year as well, but as far as Sonoma goes, he has 5 straight top 7 finishes with a win back in 2015, 4 top 5s in the last 5 races as well, including 2 runner-ups. So Kyle Busch has had some great success at Sonoma. To say the least, in recent years, he's really turned it on there. Watkins Glen, really any road course we go to, Kyle Busch is a threat. He ran very well at Coda. He was contending for a win pretty much the whole race, won a stage in there, and if he would have just stayed out of the pits like Chase Elliott did late, he would have finished second place. So he ended up finishing 10th, still a good run, top 10, scored a lot of stage points, again, won a stage, but he was contending for a win the whole day. It was him, Chase Elliott, and, who was the other driver that was up there late in the race? Kyle Larson, that's right. But anyway, yeah, he would have ended up second or third there to Larson. if he just could have stayed out, which he could have stayed out till about like 3 laps to go. They were like 3 or 4 or 3 laps short, something like that. So he could have stayed out that long, and that's why Chase Elliott, he was just going to stay out and hope for a caution. Worked out for his favor. So tough break there for Ben Bishop and Ben Bishop is a goalie for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't know why I said Bishop. Ben Bishop made the wrong call there, but hindsight's always 20/20 for sure. If it would have stayed green to the end of the race, that was going to be the right call, but it didn't. So that was unfortunate for them. But anyway, yeah, this season they have been great on the road courses. Back at the Daytona road course earlier this season. Well, first and foremost, he won the Busch Clash earlier this year on the Daytona road course, so he ran well there and was running top 5 most of the day in that race, leading up to the win. And then at the Daytona road course, he did not have a great run. He finished 35th as far as the race finish goes, but he had mechanical failures in that race, so nothing of his doing there. Which is the same thing that bit him last year at the Daytona road course too, was the mechanical failures. Yeah, more mechanical failures in that race, but he still had some in this race. So for whatever reason, that 18 team can't get it together at the Daytona road course. But every other road course, he's pretty good. And again, he won the Busch Clash there earlier this season, so that's a bonus. High on Kyle Busch today. I think he gets a top 10 easily. He scores a lot of stage points, and I expect Kyle Busch to compete for the win. Final driver on the must-have list is Kevin Harvick. You wouldn't think as Harvick as being a great road course racer, especially in recent years, but still at Sonoma, he has great statistical success. Kevin Harvick in the last 5 Sonoma races has finished inside the top 6 every time. He actually won at Sonoma in 2017 with Stewart-Haas Racing, so that was literally the 3rd last race they ran there. And as far as this season goes, he was running in the top 10 at COTA before that accident he had late in the race when he got piled into from behind from Bubba Wallace after Christopher Bell and Ryan Blaney got together there. So, again, he was in the top 10 there and was running consistently right around 10th the whole race. And then he finished 6th at the Daytona road course this season, too. Bounced back with a good performance there, even after spinning early in the race. So, between those stats all together, I think Kevin Harvick, can get a top. Well, Kyle Busch will too, but I think Kevin Harvick is going to get a top 10 here today easily, without a doubt. And I mean, he's exceeded expectations this year. Stewart-Haas Racing has been slow. It's not a it's an obvious statement that Stewart-Haas Racing's been slow, but Kevin Harvick has had really, really good runs this season. He's still scoring consistent finishes. He's got 11 top 10s. That's tied for second most top 10s with Denny Hamlin. Only guy ahead of him is William Byron. So I expect him to get a 12 top 10 here today. Even if he doesn't score a lot of stage points, I think he'll be there at the end of the race. And now it's just time for my race win pick. Who do I think is going to win at Sonoma today for the Toyota Save Mart 350? I've had this pick for a couple days now, and I was going to pick him earlier this season, but I ended up not picking him at COTA, and I went with Kyle Busch. And Busch contended for the win, but that pit strategy late costed him, which was the same pit strategy Chase Elliott had. So it was a real kick in the rear at that point. But I do have Chase Elliott winning today at Sonoma, getting his first career win at this racetrack. He's got some track position at the start of the race as well. That's going to help him. And I think he's going to try to stay out and get more stage wins or possibly get a couple stage wins as well, because he's only got one this season, and with one win, he's going to want all the playoff points he could get. So expect Chase Elliott to obviously compete for the win today. Like I said in the predictions, I expect Chase Elliott to win today's race. I think he's going to beat Kyle Busch and Truex, who will likely be maybe 2 of the other bigger threats in this race. And maybe Kevin Harvick, like I stated. I think Harvick will definitely get a top 10. Maybe some of those sleeper picks as well could be running up towards the front as well that I have finishing inside the top 10. Patrick Shadley's got a question in the chat. Stenhouse or Bowman is my 5th driver. I would stay away from Stenhouse. He's just too inconsistent. JTG Doherty has had speed on road courses in the past. Allmendinger's got to win. I mentioned Chris Buescher ran well here at Sonoma 2 years ago, finished 12th, but Stenhouse is a more riskier pick than Bowman. Bowman has actually turned it on. It's a pretty decent road course racer in the last couple of seasons. He's ran well in the Daytona road course, had a top 5 last season. Not sure where he finished at the Daytona road course this season. Let me see here. Alex Bowman. Let's see his season stats on the road course this season. 10th at the Daytona road course earlier this year, so he had a top 10 there. And then at COTA, he finished 8th. So, yeah, I think he can get a top 10 today. I don't think that's an overstatement by any means. I think Alex Bowman could get a top 10. So, there you go. Tyler Birdbeck inside Uranus. Welcome to the stream. I think you should pick Anthony Alfredo. No, stay away from Anthony Alfredo. Don't listen to Inside Uranus in the chat. Stay away from him. Do not start him. Maybe at Daytona Talladega if you're feeling lucky, but even that's a risk at this point. Go for the other front row guy like Michael McDowell. You'll have a way better shot taking him than Anthony Alfredo. But yeah, my pick to win, Chase Elliott. According to Vegas, he is at a 2.1. Yeah, 2.1 to 1 odds. He is the favorites. Pick Brad Keselowski as my garage driver. No, don't. Stay away from Brad Keselowski. I know you just tuned in, Tyler, and you missed the start when I went over the don't haves, but stay away from Keselowski. I'll go through the stats quickly again, just for you personally. So you're welcome. He's only got 2 top 10s at Sonoma and 10 career starts, and he's only got 1 top 10 in the last 6 races at Sonoma. And he's only got 5 top 5s this year, so he is underperformed, to say the least, not only this season, but at Sonoma in his career in the Cup Series. Pick to wins Martin Truex Jr. Yeah, I think he's got a shot too, but I wouldn't be surprised if he finished outside the top 10 as well for Truex. It's just a risky pick. But I didn't have him as a don't have, so you can start him. I just don't have him on my team specifically today. And who is going to the Sonoma race? Unfortunately, I will not be at Sonoma this week, but I will be at Nashville in a couple weeks. I was at Mid-Ohio yesterday, so I guess I got to see some NASCAR racing this weekend. That was pretty fun. Good race. Good race. A lot of action. I sat in turn 1. I could see turn 1, turn 2, 3, and 4. 3 basically is that kink on that long straightaway they have. Then they would go to about 170, 180 miles an hour, and then hard break into that hard 90 into turn 4. But I saw all the action in that area of the racetrack all day long. And there was a lot of action in that area. That was definitely where I think there was the most action throughout the race. So I had a lot of fun there. Caught A.J. Allmendinger's three-wide move on camera when he kind of ran the 22 wide. It's a little shaky. I never shake. Never have had an issue with shaking the camera trying to film a wreck. But I had one there, and you could see it somewhat, but I was like, oh my god, he did. I was going nuts and freaking moving the camera up and down. I missed Cindric spinning into the grass further down because of that, but I did end up, kind of seeing the beat and banging going in. It just wasn't clear. So when that vlog ends up coming out sometime, you can roast me in the chat for it. I can't believe I did that. I've never done that before. I've always had a steady camera, even during tense moments and stuff, Talladega and other stuff. But man, I can't believe I did that. At least it was an Xfinity race. It wasn't in a Cup race. Sitting at the very top of turn 2 so I could see the curves out of turn 9. Okay. Yeah, enjoy the race today, Tyler. Fantasy Podcast will resume tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when we'll do our race review of Sonoma. Enjoy the race here today. We will be racing NASCAR Heat 5 coming up here in a couple of minutes at Dover, so tune in for that one as well. Again, early start for not only the podcast, but for the NASCAR Heat 5 stream today, because my sister has her graduation. Then I'm going to watch the race. Then after the race, we're going out to eat dinner as well. So that's kind of, my day's busy. I'm not going to be able to stream a live commentary of the race today, but I will be able to watch it. So thanks for everybody tuning in here. I will throw my Blaney shirt on as soon as I get back from the graduation, at least. So I will be supporting Ryan Blaney as usual. And Blaney's had good success at Sonoma as well. So I look for him to have a good day. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you guys for NASCAR Heat 5 very, very shortly. Ashley G, welcome into the chat there late. Pick for Chase Elliott. Yep, that's my pick here today. We'll see if I could go and get back-to-back wins for predictions. Picked Kyle Larson correctly last week. Almost picked Elliott. I could have very well had a shot at 3 in a row, but I'll go for 2 in a row, and we'll see if I can get it done. Thanks for watching.